Mnet recently announced on the 21st of February 2022 the lineup for Queendom 2, the second season for girl groups after the highly successful Queendom that aired back in August to October of 2019. The star-studded lineup for Queendom 2 includes VVZ, Luna, wjsn, Brave Girls, Kepler, and Hyorin, a former Sistar member. So, what is Queendom? Queendom is marketed as a comeback battle between the groups in the show, where at the end, all six artists will release a new track at the same time and compete to see who comes out on top. In theory, this would be a pretty simple show until everyone saw the wonderful performances on the first season of Queendom, and then came Road to Kingdom and Kingdom, the male versions of the first season, where the artists and the companies involved spent a lot of money in the performances, and that is why I think expectations of performances in Queendom 2 are currently sky high, not to mention that this lineup is pretty crazy. So let's start with the only solo artist, Hyorin. I had always expected a solo artist if Mnet were to follow a similar format and casting as the first season, but Hyorin was definitely not on top of my list. Though she is still active in making music, I'm not sure how many newer K-pop fans would be familiar with her as compared to say Somi or Changha. However, in the eyes of Mnet, I could see what role she would be playing in the show. Hyorian will almost certainly help to draw the eyes of second-gen fans, as the Mnet do with every season of the show, for example Park Bom and AOA in Queendom and B2B in Kingdom. Furthermore, it will be interesting story-wise to follow up with a member from a now disbanded girl group, and the best part is that Sistar disbanded on good terms, which means, who knows, we might get a Sistar reunion stage. Hyorian will be an interesting competitor to the rest of the groups for sure, especially when she's so versatile in concepts that she's able to do. Next, we have Kepler, which honestly, when I saw the leaked lineup, I didn't really think Mnet would put Kepler on another show this quick after Girls Planet 999, but boy was I wrong. I guess they did that with TOO in Road to Kingdom too, but technically that was for rookie groups. Even though Kepler has won on music shows already, but I would think that for a group on a limited contract, they wouldn't waste another about 5 months on another Mnet show. Anyways, I'll still be excited to see their performances since that is, after all, the appeal and probably why Mnet put them on the show because rookies often put on the most unexpected performances as seen in the likes of 80s and Idol, whom I think gained a surge in popularity in Korea afterwards, though it can be argued Idol was quite big already. And popularity with the general public in Korea is what I think Kepler is currently missing. But might I add, Kepler might not have been a first choice group for Mnet standpoint, just because for power rookies that I could realistically cast, I would have thought that their first choice would be Stacy instead. Now we have a very interesting group, VVZ, made up of former G-Friend members Inha, Simi, and Umji. I was definitely expecting them to be on Queendom too, especially because of the unique situation that they're currently in and the stories that I as a writer could work with from the group. Thinking from the perspective of a writer, VVZ has had an extremely interesting backstory. G-Friend debuted in 2015 as Source Music's first girl group, and from an unknown company, their debut song Glass Beat did pretty well. They followed Glass Beat up with Me Gustas Tu and Rough, that got them their first win. But what's interesting though is that whenever they tried to switch the concept to a darker or more mature concept, such as Fever, Crossroad, and Apple, the results weren't as good, at least in terms of YouTube views. But finally, I thought that they found their perfect sweet spot with Margot, having both the sound they had in their earlier days while this being more mature. But then they disbanded pretty suddenly, considering that they even had schedules planned that had to be cancelled, and no company would end a contract so suddenly if it ended up in losses. While we can't be certain if Mnet will stir this drama up, I sure wouldn't put it past them to make the G-Friend disbandment the main plotline for VZ and how it feels now to be promoting separately. I think Queendom will be a great way for VZ to show a variety of concepts, especially concepts that they couldn't explore as G-Friend. Brave Girls is one of the groups that I 100% expected Mnet to cast, and for Brave Girls to accept the offer as well. Brave Girls is one of the rare girl groups since EXID to experience an old song rebounding on the charts and restarting their careers. As Mnet, I would have been trying to cast Brave Girls immediately when Queendom 2 was green-lighted for production. They're currently still a pretty hot topic, have developed a good fan base, and the general public loves them, which will be great for the ratings, and I will be fairly confident in Brave Girls accepting the offer because, to be honest, though their careers have restarted, they still haven't had that many opportunities to explore a diverse variety of concepts, having stuck to the tropical summer sound with Chimat Baram and the city pop sound with After We Ride. So it will be cool to see what sort of performances they come up with. Although Brave Entertainment is questionable in management, Brave Brothers do make some great music in K-pop, and that is something really exciting. Now for Luna, I actually didn't expect Mnet to have two large groups, Luna and wjsn, at the same time. I was expecting one or the other, but I don't mind at all since both are top tier groups. In terms of role fulfillment, Luna helps to take the large group and immensely popular overseas group that Koreans still do not really know about. Mnet might bring up the disparity in popularity among the members if they're truly snakes, and make that the main storyline, but I think even if they do, Luna won't let them get away with it. Otherwise, Luna would definitely be interesting just because of the concept and the solo debuts for each of them that happened pre-debut. I'm not 100% certain, but Blockberry might be using Queendom as a semi-last-ditch effort for Luna because I'm not sure how long more they will be able to invest large amounts of money for Luna, having gone through some rough patches financially. I don't think they're completely out of the woods yet. So hopefully Luna gets to show the diverse concepts and amazing members to the general public and get the bang for Blockberry. Last on the list, we have wjsn, whom have kinda on my own personal ranking of girl groups in the past year or so, with a solid full group release Unnatural and sub-unit songs Easy by Uju Sonia the Black and Silver Yabas by Uju Sonia Chokun. I was surprised when Uju Sonia was announced because I had no idea if the feud between Starship and Mnet had resolved or not, as Starship artists have not been appearing on Mnet shows for a while, but I guess they must have solved the feud, and I am really happy. Uju Sonia certainly needs more recognition as a group because they make some wonderful music, so I hope that the general public will listen to them even more after Queendom. Other than being a large group, I have a feeling that WJSN will be like Oh My Girl in the first season, where even if they don't win the whole competition, they're going to be the ones getting the most exposure and love out of the show. Because I feel that being a pretty old group already, they know their strengths and weaknesses fairly well, and that will most certainly be their advantage. Before ending off this video, I just want to say that there is one group that I don't stand but actually really wanted on the show that didn't end up on here, and that is Dreamcatcher. They're just such a unique group in the K-pop scene with their rock sound that's been consistent throughout their albums, and I thought Mnet would cast them for their overseas fan base, but I guess not. And that's all I have to say this time around. Thanks for watching.